Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. This is the stock market update for the week ending Friday, September 19th. Okay, we're going to start off here with the side-by-side. The industrials up 481 points, continuing to push to the upside. We haven't really even gotten overbought here on the RSI level. The S&P 500, another push. All of these are sitting at new all-time record highs on a weekly basis. S&P up 80 points, closing well above the prior week high. Any divergences that were there have now disappeared. And the same thing over on the NDX. Any divergences on the RSI have disappeared. And this was up 534 points, even stronger percentage-wise than what happened with the S&P or the Dow Industrial. So continued strong push, continue to ride above the 10-day or 10-week moving average, continue to be above the top of the Keltner channels. So we'll see how much longer we're going to get with that. Let's take a look at the Qs. We're going to look at the Nasdaq 100 ETF, the QQQs, and they were up 1269 on the week, up 403 on Friday. So same kind of picture. The Elliott Wave count that I've got in here is this. Okay, I think that we have completed intermediate wave 4 and we are working on intermediate wave 5, which means we're looking for 5 waves. I don't even believe we've got wave 1 done yet, but we're getting there. We're on the tail end of it. Okay, and then we're going to get a wave 2. The question is, how fast and how far is a wave 2 going to be? But first of all, not before we even worry about a wave 2, we've got to finish wave 1. So when I drill down and take a look at the daily in here, here's the way it looks to me. I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working the 5th wave. Now, because the 3rd wave is shorter than the wave 1, the 5th wave cannot be longer than wave 3 because wave 3 can never be the shortest wave in here. Okay, so this is what we're watching, and then we're looking for the 5 waves within this last wave structure. And, I think we're getting close on the 3rd minuet level wave in here. I think we're getting close. I thought we were going to get some divergence here, but it's just not showing up. So we'll see how much longer this wants to push. We are rapidly approaching, the spring equinox, the fall equinox is on Monday, on the 22nd. And sometimes you get some turning points, fireworks. I just don't think it's going to be a major turning point that soon. But my guess, if I had to guess on timing, I'm thinking sometime between now and the 3rd of October, or sometime in the next 2 weeks. So that means 10 more days of trading. If you notice on the corrective waves that we got here, there were only like 4 days here. We got, 5 days here. So that's pretty well in sync, timing-wise, with the length of the correction. It just wasn't very much. Actually, the biggest corrective move we had was right back in here, starting it off. But anyway, this is the count that I'm playing, that I'm staying with, and we'll see what develops and how far this stretches over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I think, I think we got more to come in terms of stretching out this 5th wave. So that is the play we've got going on right now. Let's take a look at what's going on with the interest rates. Okay, so we just had the Federal Reserve cut the interest rates. Let me go to the daily view here. And let me do this. So they cut the interest rates by 25 basis points on Wednesday. Okay, that was the announcement. So they cut them, and then the 10-year yield starts rising. So it basically did like a little reversal on Wednesday, and then continued to push on Thursday, slightly a little bit more on Friday. Well, the same doggone thing happened, twice with both cuts last year. We had a year ago, basically September of 24. 50 basis points cut, and the 10-year yield just kept rising and rising and rising. They cut it again in December, and it started rising again. Okay, So now it's going to be interesting to see just how far we go with this. When I look at the TLT, I'd really been looking at, let me make sure I got the right, I think it's the blue. Yeah, here we go. This is the wave count. Let me look on a weekly basis. Getting a little yellow, and I know what's happening. It's because where I've got wave 5. It's giving me a little alert. It's like caution. You can't have the third wave be the shortest. So here's what I think is playing out for the 5th primary wave in here. I think we have an ending diagonal pattern. And I remember, a couple of weeks ago, when we started to get this counter trend that had a lot more, strength to it, I was like, okay, well, what's happening in here? Because it's struggling to play out. And how are we going to get down here and finish the 5th wave? Well, if all of a sudden we start getting the 10-year yield rising significantly like it did after the last 2 cuts, we're not going to have any problem with TLT dropping on down here. And my expectation is, because this is an ending diagonal pattern, is that this is going to do this in a zigzag format. Okay, that's TLT. Okay, I want to look at several stocks, and I'm going to look at the quantum computing stocks because they have been on fire this last week. And that's just one section of the market, right? Quantum computing. I mean, you can look at nuclear, you can look at a whole lot of different areas, different sectors. The mania phase of this market is on. Okay, so just be ready, get ready and be ready, because I just have a feeling it's going to be even more dramatic than what happened at the, in 2021. So that's the phase of the market, of the timing that we're in. And we could get a lot of fireworks in this last week. Let me come down here. I'm struggling with my voice today, so I apologize for that. Let me come down here. I mean, I talk about nuclear. I mean, look at Oklo. Okay, so look what happened this last week. It was up 63.5% on the week. 52.52 points. Huge moves. And it's been in an uptrend now for, several months, since May, since the whole April low. But wow. I mean, talk about a move. But let's take a look at those quantum stocks. I want to start with, I'm looking to see, the one that was the biggest mover this last week was this one right here, D-Wave. Okay, $9.12, 50.8%. Huge move. Okay, so, the trend is to the upside. We had consolidation for months, and now we got a 2-week explosion. This last week was almost 51% in this week alone. The next one, Rigetti Computing, okay, of $9.43, 49.4%. I'm just looking at the last week, not counting the 2 weeks. The next one I want to look at after that is this one right here, Quantum Computing Incorporated, QUBT. So this is interesting because on a weekly basis, this looks like a big cup and handle, doesn't it? And it looks like we're breaking out. This was up $6.26, 36.8% just this last week. And, last but not least is IONQ. And this was up $14.80, 26.6%, but it was up 68.4% over a 2-week period. It went from down here at $41.80 and closed at $70.41 in 2 weeks. Huge move. Same kind of picture, really, in terms of, the cup and handle kind of thing. You draw this across, and I kind of did it over here on the daily. Right there, you got a little cup and handle, and now we're getting the explosion. we've shot quite far in 2 weeks. You know, I'd have to look at this to see, do we have a little bit more? Yeah, we may have, but wow. I mean, a heck of a move. And again, you know, when you're in this mania phase, this is the kind of thing that I think we're going to be seeing over and over and over again. Okay, that is it for this weekend. If you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. Everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you on the next video.